agency model and method. And specifically, I wanted to show you how we train agencies, just like all of yours, to price and package their services with confidence, with the goal of more easily attracting and closing those higher paying clients that we all want. Now, this is specifically for 1 to 2 person branding agencies, people who do design, brand strategy, brand messaging, websites, website design, all of those things, who want to scale up to $20,000 to $50,000 months without necessarily hiring a bunch of employees. People who are looking to do the work, love the work, but also want more freedom and ease in their lives and more freedom and ease running their businesses. We do this inside No BS by eliminating the proposals process completely. Instead, we get paid to pitch, and then shrinking those 3, 6, 12-month projects down to just a few days with intensives that both eliminate revisions and scope creep. So what I'm going to share with you today is like one piece of this entire No BS model, which we teach inside our program, No BS Agency Mastery. I'll tell you a little bit about that later. And then I'm going to ask you, I'm going to leave some time. If there's time available, I'm happy to answer all questions at the end. So Una graciously offered to be my wing woman here. So if you have questions throughout and you post them, she'll collect them. But for sake of time, I'll make sure I answer those at the end. Okay, so today what I want to do is I want to tell you about one very special piece of this whole puzzle, how to price and package your services with confidence. And before I tell you how to do that, I wanted to let this student just kind of give you an idea of the outcome of doing it this way. So this is Jacob. He said a $12,000 upsell for a lead that came to me wanting just a simple new logo from what she originally told me, and then upsold her into my highest package with a full rebrand and website. This is what happens when you have packages and you have a process that builds trust. And that's what I want to talk about today. So just so you know, this is going to be a little interactive. So I would really appreciate it if everybody could turn their cameras on so I could see your faces. That's the way you're going to get the most out of our time today. And I'm also going to be asking you to give me some feedback in the chat box. So I hope you'll be ready to respond when I ask a question. I also don't want this to be one of those like time-sucking trainings you may have seen before where people go on and on about a long story. So I want to get right into it and try to keep it to 40 minutes so we do have some time for questions at the end. But since you're all just meeting me for the first time, as Una alluded to, let me just give you a quick summary of who I am. My name is Pia Silva. I have a branding studio with my husband, Steve, called Worst of All Design. We've had it since 2011. We deliver entire bespoke custom brands and websites in 1 to 3 day intensives for our clients. And we charge $30,000 to $60,000 per project. I actually just did a $60,000 brand up 2 weeks ago in a 2-day intensive. I wrote a best-selling book, Badass Your Brand, about the story of how we went from $40,000 in debt to $500,000 in just 1 year, just the two of us, using the methods I'm going to teach you today. I've since written hundreds of articles for Forbes. I was on MSNBC, EO Fire. I've been on over 100 podcasts. I even filmed a pilot for AMC with 50 Cent. I don't know if you guys know 50 Cent, the rapper, but I was his brand expert on this pilot that he pitched to AMC. And I tell you this not to brag, but I just want you to know that I do know what I'm talking about. I've landed the press because our methods are quite different from what you may have heard anywhere else, and it just caught a lot of attention. And one of the key changes that we made that changed everything was how we packaged and priced our services and just how much easier it made closing clients. So quick question, who here has struggled to price and package your services in the past? Could you type the word price into the chat box if you just don't feel confident when you send out quotes or when you send out proposals because you're worried that you're either somehow undercharging or overcharging or somehow both. I'm worried both that I'm overcharging and undercharging. Price. Yeah. I mean, I get it. It's almost like part of owning a business like this. We've all been there. And that's why I thought that I would share this confident selling strategy where you are really seen as an authority in the process, where you know what to say, you know how to charge every single time. So when we started our design company, every time we got a new prospect on the line, we would try to estimate the hours. We used an hourly rate that we felt comfortable with. I think it started at $30 an hour when we first started. I think the highest it ever got was $65 an hour. And this was back in 2012, 2013. And then we'd either give them a packaged price based on that estimate that I came up with, or we'd give them an estimate and we would then track our time, and then we'd let them know if we were approaching the estimated hours. And then that way we could charge if we went over. Quick survey. Could you type either estimate in the chat if you also base your proposal on estimated hours times a timely rate, or could you type hourly if you charge just hourly for everything? I'd love to just see, is everyone kind of like estimating and then sending a package quote, or hourly and you give an estimate, but you really charge how many hours that you use? Oh, and a daily. Okay, yeah, estimate. So mostly estimates. Yeah, got it. Hourly or daily. Perfect. Thank you. Yeah, I know that there are quite a few struggles in this department, and this is kind of what I hear most. I often hear that people struggle because they don't know how to quote clients properly. And so you end up offering like many different things at many different prices. You may find it difficult to estimate the true time that it takes because there are just so many variables, including how easy or difficult the client is going to end up being, which can be the biggest variable of all, frankly. And if you're creating custom proposals like that based on estimated hours, they also probably take you a long time to do. When we don't have a structured process or a repeatable system, every new opportunity kind of ends up meaning a bunch of unpaid work up front just to like hopefully land the project at the end. And if you're charging hourly because at least you're getting paid for the time that you work no matter what, it also ends up having the effect of putting a cap on your income. There is an hourly price that's really kind of hard to go above. So once you hit that ceiling, the only way for you to make more money is to work more hours. And after all of that effort pitching, many of these proposals may not even close. And so then you're back at square one. You got to go find another client, and you can't get any of that time back. When you have clear offers, meaning clear packages at clear prices, this means more profit for you because you can sell at higher prices, and you can have more freedom because you have more time, and you have more ease because they close more easily. Not only is having packages easier for you when you're explaining how you work, it's also easier for your clients and prospects to understand, and that makes it easier to buy. When you have clear packages, transparent pricing, and a clear process to determine the appropriate offer, you immediately communicate that you're the authority. And you must project authority and confidence if you want to attract and close higher paying clients. And when you're able to sell packages instead of charging hourly, for example, you end up being able to focus on increasing prices while decreasing the time you spend actually delivering the work. And that means making more money in less time. So enter the no BS method of packaging and pricing. This is a student of mine. She shared what is a common experience: clients literally selling themselves into working with you. So she said, well, isn't this the best email to receive in response to the LP last week? And you're going to find out what that LP is in 1 second. Right as we're wrapping up an intensive today, which was also amazing, by the way, she said, done, sold, take my money. We see this over and over. It's not that what you're offering right now isn't valuable. It's that the process that you're using to sell your services isn't conveying the value that you want to convey. So what I want to do is I want to go through 3 key shifts that you need to make to price and package your services for these higher paying clients. So, question. When you connect with an ideal client, how do you currently pitch them? Do you you probably either write a proposal for free, or you send them a rate sheet, basically like a PDF of services, or maybe you even have this list of services on your site. Can you type either proposals or PDFs? So a proposals, if you write a proposal custom for free, or can you write PDFs if you have like a rate sheet that you send them, or like here's how much everything costs, and they pick it off, or maybe both. If you type in the chat box. Let's see. Okay, we've got some proposals and some PDFs. It seems like it's about split. A few more proposals. Discovery call to understand their needs to then write a proposal. Yeah, absolutely. Both for free. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, totally makes sense. I want you to stop doing either of these, okay? And instead, I want you to start selling your proposals. I know. Writing free proposals and pitching for work puts you in a defensive, powerless position from the very beginning. You end up spending your time doing free work, hoping you're going to convince this client to hire you without any promise of compensation for the meetings, the pitch decks, or the proposals that you write. And this is just not a great way to start a project, and it definitely doesn't position you as the authority. Now, when you're a small business, when you're one or two people, spending hours on proposals or selling based on price makes it nearly impossible to be profitable. Proposals often involve multiple meetings, multiple calls, yet after it's all done, the client can just ghost you without ever closing the deal. And I think PDFs might be even worse because they commoditize your services. They turn it into this race to the bottom on price. Neither method is ideal for positioning yourself as the expert or building trust early in the process. The other issue with proposals is that they're based on what the client thinks they need. And this is often inaccurate. For example, a client may say, I just need a logo. I just need a 3-page website. But then once the project starts, it becomes clear that they actually need so much more than that. And this is what leads to scope creep, changing timelines, pricing adjustments. All of this requires administrative work, and it can really end up straining the relationship. So we solve this using what I call a lead product. Instead of offering a free proposal, we recommend creating a lead product as the first step to working with you. So instead of a free consultation, we say conduct a 15-minute fit call to determine if the client is a good match for you and to understand more about what they need. Now, the goal is to shrink the free time that you're giving away and replace it with this lead product process. It's a paid service at a no-brainer price that starts off the relationship by positioning you as a trusted expert before any big project is even pitched. This approach positions you as an expert from the very, very beginning, and the client ends up paying you for those insights instead of getting them for free. So what we do in the lead product process, we do this because it builds so much trust very quickly, and trust is key to getting paid more. Let me ask you, have you ever worked with a client and as you are working with them, they start giving you more and more work. They start to like and trust you more and more, so they start sending you additional things. Or maybe you've even worked with a client who told you after, you should have charged more for that, or I would have paid more for that. Can you type trust in the chat if you've ever experienced one of those two situations? Jane definitely has. Trust, yeah. Anna says trust. Yeah, we've all had that experience because when you do good work, people tend to want to hire you, right? Or they want to keep hiring you because they like you and they trust you. What the lead product process does is it takes that trust that you usually develop after you've worked with a client for a while. It plucks that trust out and it puts it at the very beginning of the sales process so that they have built that trust before they decide if they're going to hire you. And can you imagine? This makes them just so much more willing to pay you those higher prices that you want to charge. So here's how it works. Once the lead product is booked and paid for, you conduct an interview to learn about their business and their goals. Then you deliver a written brief outlining what they need to do to achieve those goals. This process alone with the interview and the brief gives clients so much more clarity about their needs. And when you are the one to open up their eyes to all of this, they're going to see you as the only person who can help them achieve their goals. By focusing on delivering value instead of pitching for free, and thereby positioning yourself as this kind of expert advisor, really, you'll often find out the client actually needs way more than they originally told you. And because you are now a trusted advisor, the client often ends up opting for a package that is much larger than they initially thought that they needed. Not because you pushed your services on them, but because you uncovered right in front of them what they actually need to achieve their goals. And this makes upselling to larger projects almost effortless. And this approach also makes your sales process so much smoother and so much more profitable, as you're not wasting time with free proposals or lowering your prices with these PDFs of, menu of services. And this builds authority, making you the trusted expert right from the start. So if you want to close higher paying clients, often it's not about just finding clients who are already ready to pay those higher prices that you want. It's actually more about showing the clients what they really need. Not only will you close clients more easily, but you'll sell larger projects than you ever would have been able to sell with proposals. And you'll be helping clients so much more, which is what we're all here to do, right? This is what we all want. We want to give clients the highest value we possibly can. And not only that, but this process builds so much trust that the project can actually go so much more smoothly on the back end. If you have ever struggled with clients who nitpick or question every decision along the way, the lead product process goes a long way in setting up a dynamic where the client wants to defer to you as the expert. So I just wanted to share a couple of these. This is Lynn. She posted this just the other day. She said, my recent lead product originally reached out to me for some minor technical help, has upsold, and I'll be doing her whole brand website and marketing system. This is a good example of somebody who, if you just gave them your rate sheet or your proposal for what they came to you for, they came to her for some minor technical help, she would have said, okay, I'll do that for a couple $100. She would have done the project. That would have been the end of it. And instead, this turned into a full rebrand and website. Here, Allison shared after she nailed her first LP that the client chose the higher priced package that was nearly double the budget she had originally wanted to spend. So fun. She literally didn't even talk to me about the lower priced offer. This is because the budget that people have in their mind when they first speak to you is the fear budget. When people first get on a call with you to potentially hire you, that's when their guard is up the highest, and they're very wary of paying too much. And they're very scared that they're going to make the wrong decision. But when you put them through this LP process, everything changes. The experience that they have makes them experience your value that you have to offer. And when you open their eyes to what they didn't know they really needed, they're going to end up being so thankful, and they're so much more willing to pay kind of whatever you quote them. You have been thinking that you can't find or attract or close higher paying clients, people with higher budgets. Has anyone here been feeling that? Like, I just don't know where to find the people with the money. Half the problem is that you don't have a process to build the trust that unlocks higher budgets. You don't actually even know what these people's budgets actually are. So if you sell lead products, this is what you need to do if you want premium clients that hire you as an expert. Okay, that's number one. Number two, size does matter. I say it's all about the size of the project. It's not about the list of deliverables. So one of the biggest reasons that I see people struggle to package their services is because they're thinking in terms of a list of deliverables, and they're pricing based on the hours required for each of the things on the list. And this makes things complicated when different clients need different combinations of services, and it leaves you kind of stuck trying to create a standard package when everybody needs a different combination of these things. I want you to stop thinking of that like that completely. Instead of focusing on deliverables, I want you to think about creating packages based on the size of the project instead. This requires a pretty big mindset shift. You're selling based on value, not based on time. Yes, you're ultimately getting paid for your time because you are selling your services, but your price should reflect the value of the whole package, not the specific hours involved in the project. So for example, my packages are small, medium, and large, basically. In each package, the deliverables, like a rebrand, logo, website copy, marketing collateral, it's actually very similar. Sometimes the exact same list of things on paper for two packages, but the time that it takes to complete them can vary. So depending on factors like complexity, number of stakeholders, number of web pages, a project might take a few hours or a few weeks. The key is to move away from using a list of deliverables to create your packages and instead focus on whether the list of deliverables a client needs fits loosely into your small package, your medium package, or your large package. This approach is going to make your sales process so much smoother. Prospects want to have an idea of how much you charge, and they don't like hearing the two most common responses. What are they? It depends, right? Or what's your budget? How many people here ask, what's your budget? When you have size-based packages, you can just give your clients a clear price up front without needing to necessarily figure out every single detail of the project and without boxing yourself into a price point before you know the details of the project. Now, when you do this, it tells prospects that you are confident in your pricing and your processes, and this immediately gives them more confidence in hiring you. When you have transparent price points on your website, prospects know you're not changing your prices based on who they are or what they can afford. This also instills trust. This also saves you time and energy. Clients already have a good idea of your prices before you spend any significant time with them. It also trains you to charge based on value instead of nitpicking a list of deliverables. For example, when I was charging $10,000 for my 2-day intensive, sometimes it took us 3 full days to complete the whole thing. Sometimes it would take us 5 full days to complete the whole thing. I knew as long as it took 5 days or less, it meant that we could work 2 weeks a month with clients and make $20,000 a month. And that was our financial goal at the time. And it was always profitable, which I'll talk about more in 1 minute, because the focus was on the value, not on the time. And when the next project was a little bit smaller, I didn't charge less for it. It was still the $10,000 package. By packaging based on project size, you save time, you communicate confidence, you improve your sales process, and you can focus your time and energy on delivering value to your clients without getting bogged down in that like minute exact list of deliverables or hours. And number 3, the biggest mistake I see people make is that they focus on looking for clients who will pay higher prices while ignoring how much time each project is going to take to complete. I have seen people just so excited to land a $20,000 client, they'll do everything and anything to deliver. Now, I know you came here in part because you want to charge more, and I get that. But the third and possibly the most important thing you need to understand about packaging services and pricing your services to get higher paying clients is that you need to price based on profitability, not revenue. Because if you don't, even the biggest clients are not going to solve your problem.
Yeah.
Back,
Can I
yes,
just interrupt for one
yes.
second? It looks like yours, not your slides. Your slides are
Oh,
fine, but your yeah, there we
yes.
go. There was a
Thank you.
thumbs up.
I
Yeah,
accidentally thumbs up and it froze me.
yeah. There you go.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Pia.
Thank you. Uh, okay, so I was going to tell you about, okay, so 2014. Back in 2014, I was trying to sell $30,000 projects. This was after factoring in the time that it took me, and my partner and husband, Steve, and our 2 employees to deliver, a $30,000 project. It would take us like 6, 8 months. We needed at least $30,000 just to break even. But even when we brought in that year almost $250,000 in sales. We were still in $40,000 of debt. Now, how could that be? That seems like a lot of money because these projects took a lot of unpaid time to find and close. And when they did close, they weren't profitable. We may have brought in $250,000, but we were working all the time and we actually ended up owing money. By March 2014, we had to let our employees go because we were literally maxed out on credit. That is when we actually pivoted to this model that I'm teaching you today. And one of the first changes we made was focusing on a one-day intensive we called a brand up. You see, we had been secretly offering this small $3,000 package for people who couldn't afford us. It wasn't on our website. It was just something I offered people when I wanted to help them and they didn't fit into our model. So we decided at this point, we were in debt, we had nothing to lose. We decided to compare the $30,000 projects we were chasing to the $30,000 projects we were doing secretly on the side. The $30,000 projects that we were pitching were taking months, as I said before, between the creative work, the revisions, the meetings, and all the administrative work like the proposal, the invoicing, the follow-ups. If you add it all up, it totaled 30 days of work, maybe more. These $3,000 brand ups only took 1 full day of our time. And then I had this light bulb moment. That's when I realized, okay, if we did 10 $3,000 brand ups, we could make the same $30,000 in just 10 days instead of 30 days. And if instead of spending 30 days fulfilling on one $30,000 project, we spent 30 days fulfilling on 31-day projects, we would make $90,000 instead of $30,000. So I think the question is, which would you choose, right? Would you like to spend 30 days making 30K, or would you like to spend 30 days making 90K? This is what more profitable looks like. The second one, yeah, exactly. That's when it clicked for me. I shouldn't be chasing higher priced projects at the expense of profitability. I should focus on projects that are profitable enough to support my business and life, regardless of the revenue price tag. Now, within a few months, we were not only out of our $40,000 of debt, we made $500,000 in the next 12 months, just the 2 of us. We no longer had the overhead, and we were selling these brand ups like hotcakes. Because we focused on profitable projects, not high-priced ones. We lowered our price point from 30K to 3K for a 1-day brand up, and we did a 2-day brand up for 5,000. And suddenly we were attracting more clients who could afford us. We were delivering quickly and we were generating crazy referrals because we were doing so many projects that every client that went out there finished brought us another one. And when a project was done, it was done, right? At the end of those 12 months, we got our 1-day brand up to a $10,000 price point. So I define profitability specifically for a 1 to 2 person branding agency as making the revenue you need to support your life and your business within less than 80 client hours a month. Okay, 80 hours is 2 full weeks of work. So that leaves you 2 full weeks of growing, like time to grow your business, time to improve your skills, time to work on your processes, time to sharpen your systems. And when you have 2 full weeks a month, the equivalent, to be investing in making your business better and better, this is going to help you continually be able to deliver more value to your clients in less and less time. So for example, if you needed $20,000 a month to pay for your life, your business, and still have enough money for taxes, this means your project prices might look something like this. A small project that took 20 hours or less would be $5,000. A medium project that takes 40 hours or less would be $10,000. And a large project that takes 80 hours or less would be $20,000. And I just want this to, I want to show you this, hypothetical, because this demonstrates that you want to be careful that when you charge more for a project, you don't increase the time spent by more than the profitability ceiling. So what I find is that often when students go through our exercise with their current offerings and they run their numbers through our freedom calculator, they find out that while they may be spending 20 hours on a $5,000 project, as they start to charge more, like let's say they charge $20,000 for their first big project, they end up spending so much more time on it because they're so excited by the revenue, they're not focusing at all on the profitability. As long as your prices are based on profitability, what's beautiful about this is that it actually doesn't matter which projects you close. You're going to be operating profitably no matter what. And that creates the money and time that you need to grow your business. Now, if you do this math with your numbers, and I actually have this freedom calculator for you if you want it, I'll give it to you a little bit later. If you do this math with your numbers and you find out that you need to be charging way more than you're charging right now, I want you to know that that is totally okay and very common. But it's better to know that a profitable project for you is $10,000 for a $40,000 or less project and not the 80 hours that you're spending. Because as soon as you really know that, that's when you can take steps to move in the right direction. And those steps might include clarifying your prices, clarifying your packages, implementing the lead product is what I would suggest, and really having clear processes to follow. The clearer the processes, the less time it takes you. These strategies will help you get to the point where you can charge what you need for projects and take less and less time to deliver them. So here, I posted this, Chris. Chris posted this in our community a little while recently. He said, before starting with this model with Pia, I completed 78 jobs that year. And this financial year, I've completed 24, but have invoiced 4 times more. These are phenomenal results while working less and enjoying more downtime. Chris, I'm going to pause right here for a second. Would you mind popping on and just kind of sharing a little bit about, I don't know, what was the big change specifically? What changed when you
Yeah.
implemented the lead product?
How good does all that sound? Like, whenever I first heard this, I was like, yeah, as if, and then the more I looked into it, the more I started believing it and doing the work. It was just all coming together. I've done it absolutely everything you said, and it just works. So yeah, just jumping into that lead product, that's the missing piece, because I think I've been working with you about 2 years now. And at the start, I was a good designer, but terrible business person. And this lead product actually bridges the gap between the strategy and the creativity. And there's a lot of things you mentioned that builds trust and credibility. It builds rapport. So it's the client. You understand the client, and the client understands you. It's also a low barrier to entry. If you're putting these big prices in, it's a scary thing for clients to jump straight in and trust you. Where this is kind of like a small punt for them, that they see the value, and then you can actually showcase your value. But also what we found was filtering out a lot of the wrong clients for us, and yeah, and I think also, we've got a 9 out of 10 hit rate with these. I've done 2 this week, and I have another one booked in tomorrow. And that's another like it's another income generating, activity that we're doing with a very good chance of an upsell after it. So this is great because it means we're all in alignment, and that's the missing piece for me anyway, and that's how we can double our income and half the amount of work we're doing so far.
It's amazing. Chris. So Chris did such an amazing job also because he pushed through and he kept trying to do it. And I think there were a couple moments there where you're like, I don't know about this. I don't think it's going to work. And I just remember you really showing up and saying like, okay, but I'm going to keep trying until it works. And that's what seems like it happened. Is that a fair? I think you're frozen, Chris.
Hello?
Yeah, I think you're frozen. There you are.
You're back.
You're back.
Sorry, it's up there.
No worries.
Yeah, like at the start, it was taking me 4 days to write one of these, and I'm not a
Right.
copywriter. I can see Brano Friel, one of my first ever bosses, is a copywriter on here, and he would be very surprised to hear that I'm writing these documents now. But yeah, it took from 4 days, and we're doing them in half a day, and there's so much value in it, and it also means then we're not guessing and shooting in the dark with the graphics. Then we extract the true north creative brief out of it, which means then we're in alignment. So it's just a perfect process, which a lot of designers and creatives I feel are missing.
I love it. Thank you, Chris. Okay, I'm gonna wrap this part of the presentation up so I can make sure I have a few minutes for questions. So really quick, I just want to do a quick check-in because I know I talk fast and I said a lot of stuff. Could you just type in the chat box, like what are your biggest takeaways so far? Things that you may have learned, or maybe you knew and you're like, oh yes, I forgot about that. I find that when people type things into the chat, that's like the thing you're going to remember the most from this. And I really want to make sure you take some stuff away. Revenue versus profitability, totally. Upfront pricing, totally. Paid to quote Chris, yes. Building authority and trust up front. Key to all of this. Value, not time. Yes, I'm missing an LP. No price on my website. Yeah, it definitely helps. Don't be a busy fool, David said. Agreed. Small, medium, and large packages. Yes. Lead product is new to me, Amanda. Yes. I mean, this is a totally different way of doing it, but very proven at this point. Jane said conveying value via a repeatable system versus menu rate card. Totally. Packager services. Yes. And Marie says profitability. I spend too much time on things. Yeah. Trista says create repeatable products and reduce labor cost. Yes. Neil says transparent pricing equals more authority. 100%. Okay. These are great. If you haven't typed something in, type it in for yourself. This is how you're going to remember this stuff. So what happens when you do this right? I want to give you a couple of quick examples. This is Casey. She said she closed 2 of her highest paying clients ever because of the LP. It was an easy yes. And because she packaged her services with us, not only were they high priced, but they were actually profitable. This is a win we celebrate all the time. Biggest month ever because the LP allows people to increase their price and get it. Here's another one. Sarah doubled her revenue using the LP process specifically. Nothing else changed. Look, it's not all roses and sunshine necessarily. This is Robert. He shared this time last year that he was struggling for a little while. He almost wanted to quit, but he kept at it. Kept using the LP process and had very profitable packages and did 6 LPs and landed every client at 3 times the previous prices. So after struggling for a little bit, he had $70,000 of work close with another $45,000 in potential work. This is because he had clear processes to follow. And especially when things are feeling bleak, following a process that you know works is a really great way to get out of that. So I'm curious, type in the chat box, when you imagine confidently just telling prospects your prices with an easy, no-brainer next step, feeling really good about those prices, how does that feel to you? How would it feel to like confidently just know, oh, this is what I say. This is what I would tell people. And I know it's the right thing, you know? Exciting. Yeah. Amazing. I'd feel I'm in the right place. Totally. It's like relief, right? Valued, calmer. I love that. Happy and content. Absolutely. Confident. Yeah, that's what we're here to get, right? Some confidence in our pricing and our packaging. Like an expert in my field. Yes. Valued and respected. Beautiful. Confident. Exactly. Like I'm going to go get my nails did. Encouraged. Beautiful. Yeah, I love that. So the real question is, would you guys like to steal our processes and systems instead of trying to figure it out on your own? Yes. Okay, awesome. Well, like I said at the beginning, this is just one strategy that we teach inside No BS Agency Mastery. And I want to just give you really high level what that is. And then I have some gifts for you guys. So Mastery is for 1 to 2 person branding agencies who want more profit, freedom, and ease without hiring a bunch of employees. Now, inside, we focus on 3 main things: finding and closing ideal clients who are happy to pay the prices that you want, running more profitable projects that are easy to manage and end on time, all while increasing the value that you deliver, and how to scale your freedom and profit by building an authority machine so clients come to you, so you can focus on doing the creative work you enjoy for clients that you love. We have an online training where we walk you through every step of this process with templates and scripts. There's no guesswork. It's very paint by numbers in that respect. You know exactly what to do at every step to start growing into that $20,000, $30,000, $50,000 a month business that you want. And on top of that, we surround you with support. You can always reach out, ask technical questions, hop on calls with me and our community. We have regular intimate group coaching calls with me and our coaches. You can always get live support when you need it. And if you need help with pricing and packaging your services, finding and closing those higher paying clients, and managing scope creep, and you want a plan, then what I'd like to do is offer you some resources for now that you can go check out, because I know you probably have a ton of questions, and I'd love to just give you something to take away from this that you can look at and potentially then say, you know, this is something I could use some help with. So the first thing is the 30K blueprint. So I just basically took everything I did, I just showed you in about 20 seconds, and I put it into a blueprint for you. So I outline exactly what is in each of these phases. This is the exact model that we use and teach and have implemented in hundreds of businesses just like yours, helping them profitably scale to 6 figures. The second thing is my book, Badass Your Brand, The Impatient Entrepreneur's Guide to Turning Expertise into Profit. This is the behind the scenes story of exactly how we went from $40,000 in debt to $500,000 in 12 months without a team of employees. And then the third thing is the freedom calculator. In less than 5 minutes, you can figure out exactly what price you must be charging to achieve freedom in your business. This is going to help you figure out what that profitable versus revenue number really is and what it needs to change into in order for it to be profitable. So type yes in the chat box if you would like any of these or all of them, maybe. I need that calculator. Okay, awesome. Well, how about this? I'm going to give you all of these things for free right now. You just have to go to nobsbundle.com. I made it just for this community. And I'm not the graphic, if you didn't know, I'm not the graphic designer in our duo. So I made this graphic yesterday. So don't judge. Go to nobsbundle.com, grab it right now. I want to give this all to you because I know how powerful these strategies can be. And I really want you guys to know what's possible for you here. So there's just a few more things that I want to share with you inside from our community, just to show you what is like, what you can really do with this. Because I think especially, and I quickly saw a couple of comments. It's like, yeah, but this is for bigger clients, or like, yeah, but this doesn't work in, you know, in the UK, or, you know, this is an American thing. We do have clients all over the world doing this. And this is a couple of good examples. So this one says, I just completed my scariest and easiest intensive yet. I also felt like the magic hour, that's a whole process that we teach that is the reason intensives are so successful, perfectly primed her for what I presented. She loved it, was immediately overcome with emotion because she felt so seen. The site was done and published at 10 a.m. on the second day. It was so freaking fun. This is Jake. He said, I presented a brand reveal on Friday to a client. She made a decision on her logo easiest green light ever. It was amazing. New level of client. I'm not going to read all of these. This person, Mike, closed his $35,000 in projects in one day. This one, Andrea at the bottom, she said, did not bat an eye for a $30,000 price tag and closed on the spot. This is what we're going for. Like so much excitement and trust. They close on the spot. This is another person saying they did the magic hour. And it was literally the best meeting I've ever had. Easiest yes of my life. This is Sarah. She said her goal for Q1 was 90K and she hit 111,000. And this is somebody who said they got a green light to upsell a client to 17,000, which is the highest project they've ever sold. So those are just a couple of really quick ideas of like what you can do when you change the way that you do this. I said I have a little time for questions. So lay it on me, Una. What questions came up?
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Pia. That was just incredible. One question in from Brent, which I think is maybe applicable to a lot of the people on the call here today, is how do you apply this approach for ongoing retainers, like, for example, digital services on an ongoing basis?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, if you email me, I can link you to it. I've actually done a whole series of podcast episodes. By the way, oh my gosh, I have too many things to say in too little time. Part of also what makes this whole thing run are having clear boundaries and processes. And my podcast, I didn't even mention my podcast, No BS Agency podcast. I'm doing a series right now this month on boundaries, and you should go listen to that. But I also did a series last year on retainers. And yes, you can use this for certain kinds of retainers. But I do have a certain position on retainers, which is that certain kinds of retainer relationships are almost impossible to make unprofitable if you are a 1 or 2 person business. Retainers can be great when you have employees and they're the ones doing the work. But when you are managing a bunch of retainer clients, you end up basically like an outsourced employee to a lot of people. It's very hard to manage the profitability. However, we do have students who create retainer relationships. They just do it within our intensives model. So it might look like doing an intensive every month and banging the workout for the month, right? So if they're doing like online content, they'll have like essentially a VIP day every month. So the client is paying every month, but the time is set. And that's a really big part of this. It's like, how do I create boundaries for the time so that the work is done and delivered, and then we're not managing them throughout the month, so we have the space to do the other stuff. So does that help?
Great. Yeah, absolutely. Another question, Pia, really from myself is, what role do you think marketing plays in helping getting you from this kind of old mindset to a new mindset with your clients?
Yes. Okay. So, yes, somebody asked about how much did marketing play a role in that? The marketing that I did up until I made 500,000 was almost exclusively networking. So I have done a ton of marketing since, as I shared with you, and marketing certainly creates that machine of authority where people are willing to pay me $60,000 for a 2-day intensive, right? I don't know that I could have gotten to that price point. Maybe I could have, but I don't know if I could have gotten to that price point without also having content that built a lot of trust beforehand. However, I did not have any sort of footprint online. I didn't even have an Instagram or a Facebook account when we were doing that. It was strictly on having that clear authority in process and also doing great work for people and being able to do a lot of projects. So I had a lot of people out there singing my praises, which kind of created this snowball effect.
Brilliant.
Does that answer the question?
Yeah, that's great. And then you mentioned also that, you know, when you changed to this way of thinking about pricing, you ended up having more time to focus on doing things on a consistent basis that were going to improve your business overall. So the question is, what are the sorts of things that you do on a consistent basis every month to help you develop this business and grow it?
Yes. Well, it evolves over time. So in the beginning, the consistent things were networking, staying connected to my best contacts, right? Like staying in front of people. And then I built an authority machine, which means I created a bunch of foundational content, an email list that goes out automatically, created, lead magnets. You guys have seen this stuff. And then I started speaking, and those things then those became the things that I put more energy into once I had enough of it. So once I had a machine, then it made more sense to leverage my time to speak to audiences and like any one-to-many situation so that I could keep bringing people into my funnel. And now, you know, I'm quite a bit into that part of it. So now what I'm actually doing is going back to some of the leveraging some of the networking stuff, but leveraging it kind of at a higher level. So I'm really like, I've joined recently some very high level masterminds working with other people who have really big audiences and collaborating with them.
Amazing, amazing. Listen, Pia, we're right up at 2 o'clock.
Okay.
So that was just incredible. And we've had so many great bits of feedback from people who are really, really appreciative of your time.